Hey everybody, Paul here with Road Trip Tiny Trucker. Man, I need to shave bad. Um, we're gonna do another rant today. Two rants in 2 days. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous, and it's the most frustrating thing that I have to deal with out here on the road. It's things like this that add up that make me wonder how in the world people that want the government to do more things in our life, to run our healthcare, to run our social security system, to run our to run our welfare system. The fact that people, the citizens of this country, want the government to run more stuff tells me they've never dealt with the government. I deal with the government a lot in this job, especially right now. I'll show you in the back here, if you can see it. I'm hauling an oversized load. It's a coil container, coil cover for a rail car. It delivers in Alabama. I took this load because, hey, I could get home and see the family, and I had plans to go on a date with the wife and see my kid. Would have been nice. And instead of that, I'm sitting in a truck stop on the Ohio and Indiana border, waiting for Indiana to get their permit, to get me my permit to haul this through Indiana. I paid a permitting service, and they've been fighting with Indiana to get this permit for them, and yet it's still not here. We've been trying for 2 days to get this permit. We've been calling, I've been calling, my permitting guy has been calling, and we're dealing with some people that, one, don't care, and that's what gets me. They don't care because they don't treat you as a person. They're in the government, and whatever they say, they get to do. And there's no way around it. You have to go through them. You have to deal with them, and you can't hurry them up. In fact, if you hassle them, they're probably going to do it slower. And there's no punishment for it. And this is my problem. Every other state that I'm driving through, everyone, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Alabama, all those states have me my permits in 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm not hauling a really wide load. It's not long. It's only 10 and a half feet wide. It barely sticks out past my mirrors. It's not a super wide load. But instead, I'm having to sit. And when we call them time and time again, we're getting all sorts of excuses in the books why they're not doing it. We're getting, now we're set, but they're backlogged and they can't get to it. And I asked the lady, I said, okay, so you're 6 hours backlogged is what you're saying. Are you going to continue working till everybody that has had a permit in your system for two days? Are you going to continue working with them until they get their permits? And the answer, no. They go home at 4:30. She said, we've been trying. She said, we all took 30-minute lunches today to be able to try to get through these. I said, I'm sitting in a truck stop, and I'm going to have to miss an entire weekend with my child and my wife. And you're complaining about only taking a 30-minute lunch break? And it shut her up. I mean, I try to be as professional as possible with these people, but they don't care. And see, this is my problem. We have no way to go around it. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do to get around that problem. You can't go like, if you have an issue with Walmart, you can go to Target. If you have an issue with Ford's and you just can't get any help, you can go buy a Chevy or a Ram. Or there are avenues that you can take your business elsewhere. You can do things with people that you want to. It's a mutual agreement. With the government, that's not there. They have no reason for customer service. They have no reason to expedite. Why? They're going to get paid. They get to go home early. They get to come in late, and they get to have their 30-minute lunch break. And that's a sacrifice to them. Are you kidding me? Like, this is ridiculous. So now, and it's 5:30. They're gone. I have not gotten my permit, which to me means I'm done. I got to sit here all weekend waiting for Indiana, who thinks they have, I don't know what, why they're being like this when the other states, all the other states, no issues. There's no way around them. I mean, I could reroute my permits, but by the time I got all of my permits rerouted and paid more to get my permits rerouted, I'd drive all the way down and around it, try to figure out how to get across rivers. They all have rules that you got to follow. And there's nothing we can do. I can't, I file a complaint? Yeah, that's going to really help. Now, so my rant today is about, if you have ever everyone's dealt with the DMV. Is there anybody praising how well the DMV works? Anything that's government run runs like crap, okay? It runs like crap because there's no accountability, there's no reason for them to have customer service, and there's no reason for them to expedite anything. Why? You can't go do anything else. They get to dictate the rules, they get to make up the rules, and we had an issue where the Federal Motor, this is why it's taking 2 days, because the Federal Motor Carrier Association has my name, my company name, right? Road Trip Transport in there. Well, they're complaining that the way we submitted it didn't match. Okay, so I don't know if the permitting agent made a mistake or whatever, so he resubmitted it. Then they said, well, it doesn't have ink at the end. So then we resubmit it with ink at the end, and now it's really? That's what's holding you up? So now we're approved. My account was approved, but now we're waiting on the permit to go through. And it's just, you do not want the government to run your healthcare system because it will be just as bad as this and the DMV. You do not want your government to run your welfare system because it's run horribly. 25 now again, this is a rant. I'm pulling this number out of a article that I read. You can feel free to fact check me, but government run corporations only efficiently use 25% of the tax money we give them to run that program. So the welfare system, only 25% of the money that goes in is ever actually used. 75% goes to the bloated government, okay? This is beyond ridiculousness. I have a barely oversized trailer. Every other state gave me theirs, and Indiana's basically saying, no, I don't care that the FMCSA, the federal department, says that you're fine. We're going to take forever doing it. And now it's the weekend, and I highly doubt I'm just not gonna get my permit. So I can't drive. I cannot leave here. I can't go back into Ohio because my permit doesn't allow me in Ohio. I can't continue on through Indiana. So this is my rant for the day. It's a shorter one, but you do not want the government running anything. The people need to take care of running these types of programs. The government should just be there to make sure everybody's playing by the rules, not making up the rules and then running that program. That is insanity, and nobody can compete with them. They don't have any competition. There's no other permitting service that'll issue your permit for Indiana. Why not? Why not just say, okay, you have to get a permit to go through when you're oversized. Allow private companies to be permitting services. Now they have to follow the rules, and they have to say, okay, if you're 10 feet 8 inches wide, here's the regulations, here's what your permit's going to cost you, so on and so forth. But if they're slow, and if they're messing up, and if they're doing what Indiana DOT is doing to me, you could go to a different one, and they go out of business. It's ludicrousness that the government runs these types of things. I don't mind that they oversee them, because we can't have people taking 18-foot long wide loads and wrecking cars. I get that. We can't have people hauling overweight and wrecking all the streets that they drive down. I get that. But there's no reason that they then have to run that program. They can give that to the private industry and actually generate some competition and then oversee it. Make sure that those private companies are doing it the correct way, that they're not issuing permits, and fine them if they are. The government's role is not to do the job. The government's role is to make sure that everybody's playing on the same playing field. So, there's my rant for the day. This is ridiculous. I've got to sit here on the border of Ohio and Indiana on I-70 for all weekend in a pickup truck when I could be home with my kid and my wife, and would be home. But for 2 days we've been dealing with this. So there's my rant for the day. By the way, the curtains behind me, the only reason that they're not the new ones my wife made, which are awesome, is because we had to wait on some grommets to come in. So next time you see me, I should be able to show you my sweet new curtains my wife made me. So thank you all for watching, and yeah, you get 2 rants in a week this week, because this is stupid. So all right, we'll talk to y'all later. See ya.